It's locked up. That's not good. Hey y'all, thanks for tuning back into Chickanic. Hope everybody's having a great week. What do we have here?
Bree was the heart and soul behind Chickanic. The laughter, the grease-stained hands, the quiet determination that inspired millions. From late-night garage builds to moments of raw honesty, her journey felt personal, almost like watching a close friend chase a dream. Then, without warning, everything changed. The uploads stopped, the smiles faded, and questions filled the silence. So, what struggles was Bree hiding behind the camera? What moments led to this heartbreaking turn? And why does her story still echo so deeply with fans today? When the lights went out, the end of Lakeside Small Engine. On October 14, 2023, Bree stood alone inside Lakeside Small Engine in Hot Springs, Arkansas. She paused for a moment, taking in the space around her. The shop, once bursting with noise and movement, now felt strangely large. Too quiet. Too empty. She walked over to the light switch, took a breath, and flipped it off. In that instant, everything came to a complete stop. There was no familiar roar of engines struggling back to life, no steady hum of the air compressor, no metal tools clashing or customers chatting while waiting on repairs, just silence. The kind that presses on your chest and makes you realize something important has ended. For more than 10 years, this shop had been full of life. It was never just a repair business. It was a place where broken things were brought back to usefulness. Lawn mowers that kept yards neat. Chainsaws and trimmers that helped people earn a living. Generators people relied on during emergencies. Machines that mattered to everyday life. And now, the doors were closed. Not for a break, not for repairs, but forever. To someone passing by, it might have looked like a normal business closure. Another small shop shutting down. But to Bree, it felt deeply personal. It felt like losing a part of who she was. For nearly 15 years, Lakeside Small Engine had taken everything they had to give. Long mornings that started before sunrise. Nights that stretched far past dinner. Weekends that disappeared into unfinished jobs. Vacations were rare, and when they did happen, worry always followed. Summers were packed with endless repairs, while winters came with fear of slow business and unpaid bills. The work was never flashy or impressive to outsiders, but it was meaningful. People trusted Bree and her husband Ron. They trusted them to be honest, to charge fairly, and to fix things the right way. In an industry where shortcuts were common, that trust meant everything. Money was part of the reason the shop closed, but it wasn't the real reason. Customers were still coming. The workload never slowed down. The truth was far more painful. Ron was the heart of the shop. While Bree handled the smaller engines, Ron took on the heavy jobs, the riding mowers, zero-turn machines, industrial equipment, and massive engines mounted on trucks. The work demanded strength, patience, and hours of physical strain. And for years, Ron gave it everything his body had. Eventually, his body couldn't keep up. By the time the shop shut down, Ron had been limping for almost 2 years. His hips were badly damaged. Doctors didn't leave room for hope or delay. He needed hip replacement surgery, and heavy labor was no longer an option. For a repair shop built entirely on physical work, that loss wasn't just difficult. It was final. Even the building reflected their struggle. It was old and worn, with cracks and weaknesses that made upgrades unsafe and expensive. Fixing it would cost more than they could afford to risk, especially with Ron's health uncertain. When Bree shared the news online in a video titled the end of an era, viewers expected something familiar. A repair tip, a casual update, maybe even a joke. Instead, they saw something different. No tools, no workshop sounds. Just Bree, speaking honestly, holding back tears as she explained that something she loved had reached its end. It wasn't just a business closing. It was years of sacrifice, identity, and hard-earned pride coming to a quiet stop. And even then, that emotional moment was only the beginning, because behind that silence was a much deeper story still waiting to be told. Was Brez's nightmare limited to these? What other challenges did she face? Let's delve into the details of the struggle to gain legitimate footing. Deepfakes, regulations, and the fight for the right to repair. Just when it seemed like Bray had finally found her footing online, a new danger crept in. Quiet, strange, and deeply unsettling. It wasn't a rival shop. It wasn't hateful comments. It was something far more modern, far more disturbing. Fake videos. Without her permission and without warning, scammers used artificial intelligence to copy her face, her voice, even her mannerisms. Suddenly, videos appeared online that looked exactly like Bree. They spoke like her. They wore her confidence. But the words were not hers. Entire fake Chickanic channels popped up, pushing incorrect and sometimes dangerous repair advice. One especially eerie clip showed Bree speaking in a stiff, robotic tone, claiming that Ron had received hips. A statement so absurd, it would have been laughable if it weren't so alarming. For Bree, it was chilling. But more than that, it was dangerous. Bad mechanical advice doesn't just confuse people, it can seriously hurt them. A wrong instruction can lead to fires, explosions, or life-threatening injuries. And when something goes wrong, viewers don't blame a faceless scammer. They blame the name they trust. They blame Bree. In a matter of weeks, years of carefully built trust stood on shaky ground. Fighting back felt like trying to stop a flood with bare hands. Every time she reported one fake account, 3 more appeared. She found herself trapped in a constant struggle, having to prove that she was the real Bree on her own platform. The internet, once her refuge, had turned into a battlefield. And as if that wasn't enough, another storm was gathering, this one from the world of regulation. By 2025, environmental rules from the EPA had grown far stricter. Even showing how to make simple carburetor adjustments on camera had become legally risky. The fines weren't small warnings or minor penalties. They reached into the hundreds of thousands of dollars. Teaching people how to fix their own machines, something Bray had dedicated her life to, now came with the threat of crushing punishment. Her mission suddenly felt criminalized. But Bray didn't retreat. Instead, she pushed back harder than ever. She raised her voice in support of the right to repair, the belief that if you own something, you should have the freedom to fix it yourself or choose who fixes it for you. She explained in plain terms that repair helps the environment far more than forced replacement. Fixing keeps machines running longer, reduces waste, and saves resources. Forcing people to throw things away doesn't clean the air, it fills landfills. Bray didn't argue quietly. She spoke loudly. She tagged officials. She broke complex policies into words regular people could understand. She turned viewers into supporters, and supporters into advocates. What started as a channel about engines and tools became something bigger, a movement about independence, responsibility, and fairness. In the process, Bree transformed. She was no longer just a mechanic. She wasn't only a creator. She became a fighter, standing at the intersection of technology, law, and everyday people simply trying to fix what they own. Her story is not just about closing a physical shop. It's about what it costs to care deeply in a world that keeps changing the rules. It's about holding on to purpose when systems make it harder for ordinary people to stay skilled, capable, and independent. The fix-it spirit, the idea that knowledge should be shared and hands should stay capable, is under real threat. And even now, facing fake faces, fake voices, and real pressure, Bree is still standing, still teaching, still speaking, still fighting to keep that spirit alive. Did Bree's work start with her online presence? Did she start her work long before launching her brand online? Let's dive into the details of how Chickanic was born. Grease, grit, and guts. Long before the algorithms noticed her, before the flood of views, likes, and subscribers, Bree's story was already being written in grease, grit, and quiet determination. It didn't begin with confidence or applause. It began with uncertainty and the courage to keep going anyway. Bree enrolled in a small local college to study small engine repair, a field where she often felt out of place the moment she walked into the room. For 2 long years, she learned how engines breathed, how fuel moved through tight spaces, and how tiny parts worked together to bring machines to life. She took apart chainsaws, rebuilt carburetors, traced fuel problems, and fixed systems that many people believed were far beyond a woman's reach. The doubts weren't subtle. They came in raised eyebrows, awkward silences, and the unspoken question, can she really do this? By 2010, Bree and Ron turned that hard-earned knowledge into something real. They opened Lakeside Small Engine, a modest shop that served everyday people, farmers, homeowners, landscapers, anyone whose work depended on machines running smoothly. The shop became a place where broken tools found second chances. The work was demanding, the days were long, and the rewards were never guaranteed. Some nights ended with sore hands and tired minds, but it was honest work, and Bree took pride in every repair that left the shop running better than before. For years, that was her life. Fix, test, deliver, repeat. Then, in 2017, something shifted. Bree picked up a camera, not with dreams of fame, but with a simple idea. What if she shared what she knew? What if she showed people that repairing equipment wasn't mysterious or impossible? What if she helped them fix things themselves? She named the channel Chickanic, a sharp, clever answer to the looks she'd endured for years. The surprise on people's faces, the quiet disbelief, the assumption that a chick couldn't possibly out-repair seasoned mechanics. The name wasn't just branding, it was a statement. At first, YouTube was just squeezed into the cracks of her life. Bree would spend 10 to 12 hours at the shop handling customers and repairing machines, then head home to record or edit videos late into the night. Those early videos carried her exhaustion in every word. Her voice sounded tired, sometimes strained, but beneath it was something stronger. Purpose, resolve, a steady fire that refused to go out. She wasn't chasing celebrity. She wasn't trying to impress anyone. She wanted to teach. She wanted to give people confidence. She wanted to show that skill isn't decided by gender, but by patience, practice, and persistence. Then came 2020, and everything changed. As the pandemic slowed the world, one thing stayed the same. Machines still broke. With repair shops closed or limited, people stuck at home had no choice but to learn. They turned to the internet, searching for clear, honest guidance. And they found Bree. Almost overnight, Chickanic took off. Views multiplied. Subscribers climbed from a few thousand to hundreds of thousands. By late 2025, The channel had reached over 786,000 subscribers and nearly 150 million views. Sponsorship offers arrived. Ad revenue became reliable. Bray had grown into one of the most trusted voices in small engine repair online. Yet, she never lost sight of why she started. Again and again, she reminded her viewers that none of it happened alone. "The only reason I can make this shift," she told them, "is because of you. Every watch, every comment, every share. You made this possible." But success rarely comes without a cost. As the channel grew, so did expectations. More content, more responsibility, more eyes are watching every move. Behind the steady rise was mounting pressure and a shadow that followed her newfound success, quietly waiting to be noticed. Was Chickanic's success as easy as it appears on the screen? Were there any hiccups along the line? Let's dig into the details of the hidden cost of success. Burnout behind the screen. From the outside, Chickanic felt like a perfect success story. Viewers saw clean, satisfying repairs where broken machines came back to life. They watched clear, step-by-step explanations that made complex problems feel simple. There were jokes, light moments, and a warm sense of community growing around the channel. To many people, it looked like a dream job, doing what you love, helping others learn, and building a loyal audience along the way. But what the camera showed was only one side of the story. Behind the scenes, life was exhausting. YouTube does not reward balance or rest. It rewards consistency. Upload again, and again, and again. Miss a few videos, and the algorithm quietly pushes you aside. Views drop. Reach shrinks. Momentum disappears. Bray found herself stuck between two demanding worlds, feeding the never-sleeping online machine while also keeping a real, physical repair shop running every single day. The shop itself came with its own heavy pressures. Customers crowded the space with piles of equipment. Some machines were dropped off and never picked up again, sitting there for months. Others brought suspicion instead of trust, accusing the shop of stealing parts or causing damage. Replacement parts took longer to arrive. Prices kept rising. Money came in unevenly. Busy one month, painfully slow the next. Planning became almost impossible. In the middle of all this stood Bree, wearing every hat at once. She wasn't just a mechanic fixing machines. She was also a business owner, handling customers and bills, a content creator filming repairs, an editor cutting videos late into the night, and still a wife and a mother with a family to care for. Research shows that many online creators burn out within just a few years. Bree didn't just sprint. She ran a marathon at sprint speed for more than 5 years straight. Even the online space, which looked so supportive, had a darker side. The comment section wasn't always friendly. Trolls waited for mistakes. Angry viewers threatened bad reviews and public attacks. The line between the internet and real life felt dangerously thin. For years, Bree completely stopped mentioning the shop's name in her videos. "I didn't say where I worked for 3 years," she once admitted, "because I was afraid someone would destroy our real-world reputation online." What once felt like a dream slowly turned into a cage. The shop that represented independence and purpose now felt like something trapping her in constant stress. Every problem, online or offline, felt connected. A bad comment could lead to real-world consequences. A slow month could mean sleepless nights. The joy that once fueled the work began to fade. When the shop finally closed its doors, the emotions were complicated. There was deep grief for what had been built with so much effort. But there was also relief. No more fear of trolls attacking the business. No more walls, literally and emotionally closing in. No more risking everything for margins that kept shrinking despite working harder every year. For the first time in a long while, there was quiet. But peace has a strange way of being temporary. Without the shop, questions surfaced quickly. Identity shifted. Purpose needed redefining. The pressure didn't vanish. It simply changed shape. Because when you spend years running non-stop, slowing down can feel just as unsettling as the chaos you leave behind. The shop was gone. The grind had ended. Yet the story was far from over. Who is the relentless brain behind Chickanic? How did she strive to get this far? What is her personal life like? Let's take a close look at the face behind Chickanic. From small engines to big influence, she is a mechanic by skill, a YouTube star by influence, and a digital creator by passion. Online, she is widely known as Chickanic, a name that has become familiar to hundreds of thousands of people who love engines, tools, and honest, hands-on learning. Through her popular YouTube channel, she has built a strong community of viewers, earning over 750,000 subscribers who regularly tune in to watch her work, learn from her, and be inspired by her journey. What makes her story truly compelling is not just the numbers, but how she got there, step by step, tool by tool. Long before fame found her, Chickanic was simply someone curious about how machines worked. She chose a path that many people did not expect, enrolling in a small engine repair program at a local college. For 2 solid years, she learned the basics and beyond: how engines breathe, how they fail, and how they can be brought back to life. It was not glamorous, but it was meaningful work. She spent long hours learning, practicing, and getting her hands dirty, building real skills instead of chasing quick attention. After completing her training, she didn't jump straight into the spotlight. Instead, she worked behind the counter at a local small engine shop, gaining real-world experience. There, she interacted with customers, handled repairs, and deepened her understanding of the business side of mechanics. This phase of her life shaped her grounded approach today. It taught her patience, problem-solving, and the importance of explaining things clearly, skills that would later become central to her success online. When she eventually brought her knowledge to YouTube, she didn't try to be flashy or complicated. Her videos focused on what she knew best: small engine repair tutorials, maintenance tips, and honest product reviews. Many of these videos were filmed right inside her own small engine shop, giving viewers a real and relatable environment. Her teaching style is simple, calm, and practical, making even complex repairs feel achievable. This honesty and clarity quickly set her apart in a crowded online space. Beyond engines and tools, Chickanic's personality also shines through. She is openly a dog lover, often sharing her affection for animals with her audience. These small personal touches help viewers connect with her as a real person, not just a mechanic on a screen. In November 2023, she took time off to vacation in Mexico, a reminder that even hard-working creators need moments of rest and renewal. At the heart of her life is her family. She is married to her husband, Ron, and together they share a son. While she keeps much of her family life private, it's clear that family plays an important role in grounding her and giving purpose to her work. Balancing career, creativity, and home life is not always easy, but she manages it with quiet strength. In the broader world of online creators, Chickanic stands among other notable personalities. She shares her American roots with fellow YouTube star Rachel Metz placing her within a growing group of creators, redefining what expertise and influence look like online. From a college workshop to a YouTube channel watched by hundreds of thousands, Chickanic's journey is a powerful reminder that passion, patience, and authenticity can turn everyday skills into extraordinary impact. So, what do you think about Chickanic? Do you think Bray's high spirits would drive Chickanic to the promised land? We would love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe.